Hey guys, been a while. This is kind of what I have in store for today. Haven't really been able to do much for the home lab lately. Just haven't had the money set aside to buy all the hard drives because that's a big chunk of change I gotta set aside. But it's all right. I'll get there eventually. But anyways, I got two of these actually. This is what I figured I'd show you guys. What these are is the outdoor enclosures for cell towers. So you can see the stuff from my other channel back there. So these are actually 30U server racks that are designed to resist most elements. So if I go and open up the door, give you a little bit of a peek in. This one's in the best shape out of all of them. They've got a little latch on the bottom. So this one's still got the fan controller and everything put in there for temperature management. So you have, I believe that's the exhaust, and I believe this is the intake fan, or other way around, one of the others. So this one's still got all the fiber in it. You can see the coax for the GPS antenna. Why these actually had GPS, I don't really know. If anybody actually watched my videos and knows why they would have GPS, because these would be standard, just set in one spot and left alone. But I don't know why they would actually have it, but they are GPS. I did learn that due to, here, because of these modules. And I did look it up, not just because it says GPS, but I did look it up, and these are GPS receiver modules. So they went into one of these, which is a 8-way GPS splitter / multiplexer. So that's what it is. So that would have been mounted up here on that plate, and those guys were mounted down there. But that's what it was GPS was connected to everything, and that a lot of things in here were actually connected to it. There's no hardware left. All that's left is these guys, which these guys are a 6 total bay regulator is what they call them, or I believe that's what they call them is or rectifiers is what they call them. And what each one of those is a 48 volt DC, I believe 3,000 watts, so 50 amps power supply. It's like 55 amps power supply. So there's 4 of them, so you have 200 amps at 48 volts DC. They went into this box, which is the main cabinet, which if you unscrew these two on the front, so you just have this one, and then you come over here. I can get my hand past all the cables. You can pull off this front bezel, and then you have all the breakers. So if you look at this front bezel, out of the way, you have critical bus, non-critical, priority, and your batteries. So the way these were built is you have one breaker here, which is your main battery breaker. These are 150 amps a piece rated. One breaker here is for the 4 12-volt batteries wired in series to get your 48 volts DC, because everything in these cabinets runs off 48 volts DC no matter what. This module handles the switching between battery or shore power, but it's an instant transfer. It's a constant, basically, battery run, UPS essentially. And I actually think it may almost be these things are built as rectifiers, because these are actually passing 48 volts that goes directly into the batteries and everything at the same time. Basically meaning that there is no real transfer time you'd be able to see. If you actually look like a graph in an oscilloscope, you wouldn't be able to see it. But then the way they're also wired is you have, with your critical bus, those would be all your devices that it would basically be critical, and then you have non-critical. So basically if this thing runs low on power, batteries get low, then it will shut off. There's 2 internal contactors. I've opened one of them up. They're sitting about here and here on the internals. It would shut off the non-critical things, and then if the critical things probably went bad or got too low, battery voltage got too low, it would kill critical, and I think your priorities stay on. So you have 2 breakers that are constantly pulling battery power, and that's probably for emergency type of equipment that are in here. So anything that's probably to locate the rack, which actually may be for GPS or anything else. And that may be why they were on here, is because these could be in remote sites so that if the rack was for some reason stolen with all the equipment, GPS would be able to find it if nobody actually got in here to cut off the antenna. So these front cabinet doors are a big old handle, and then you have a key lock, or a 3-pin combination lock. Basically, you have 3 different 0 to 9 digit codes. So you have the actual breakdown of stuff that was in here. So you can see what they actually labeled as their critical and non-critical stuff. So this is all critical, non-critical, and then priority. So yeah, it's kind of give you an idea of what was actually used all in here. You can see your different alarms that they had. You can see different connections, how the connections went out of the cabinet. Then you have the different actual layout of things that were in this cabinet, and then AC load center. So AC load center is way down here. So you have all your breakers, mainly all of them are for the rectifiers. The rest is for, if you come over here, you can see the cab heater and the battery heaters. So there's an internal heater in this cab. So it's probably, I think it's located in that is the cab heater. And then you have the battery heater, which comes up and is in here. So here's your 1 battery cable. Let me get back. There's your 1 battery cable. So, and you can see this is a pure cell rack. But yeah, I got one of these. I've got 2 of them. I'm trying to sell one of them because I don't really need the other one. This one I may turn into a cabinet for these projects because I really don't need an outdoor rack. But if one of them doesn't sell, I may turn one into an outdoor bunker for server equipment. I will just patch that side. I'll get a plate and just do a thicker steel plate, drill the bolt holes because there's 4 threaded inserts, if I can get my camera low enough to be able to do that. But these are designed, and I could use one of these and probably get a bunch of more cell tower grade computers if I could find them that actually are already built to run off 48 volts DC standalone, and actually use one of these rectifiers and everything and be able to bring internet and power, and then everything is on battery backup or whatever. So if you wanted to know what the batteries were, I'll walk you over here. There's 3 of them. This one had 3 in it. So 12 volts, 190 amp hours a piece for people that want to know. So big batteries, built to run everything. They could probably run most of the equipment that's in here for a day or 2 off battery. I would assume. I would assume it'd be able to run all the equipment for probably about a day. It'd probably be able to run all the priority equipment for probably about 3 days off battery. Or it would be able to run critical equipment for about 2 or 3 days, and probably priority for at least a week. I would assume it's probably how they'd have it structured. That's typical structure-wise. And then all these sites will always have a generator backup. But that would just be, that would not be just these batteries though, because as you could remember, there is, let's get my hand over here, 3 different breakers for batteries. So if you come all the way down here, and if you look up, you can see 2 different Anderson connectors, and that is going into the other 2 breakers. So this was actually built, and I have a piece of paper that was talking about it that was in here. That's what this was for. There's an enclosure that gets butted up next to this that is a battery enclosure. It's just full of batteries. So you have multiple more sets of batteries like that. And that way, so this equipment could run for probably, if this was probably set in more of a remote location, probably a week or 2 with full equipment running, be able to handle it no matter what. But yeah, that's what I got. There's flies constantly attacking me, which is very annoying. But yeah, I do really like it. These, to give you a breakdown of all the connectors that are in here, LC fiber connectors, RJ45 connectors. These went between the converters for the GPS. So maybe I'll see if I can get one of those to work eventually, just play around with them. 20 amp rated DC plugs. And then you have a bunch of just power wire hanging around. So in the back of these, which I will show you, there is a big terminal block across here that they all just plug into. So if I actually walk over, which I'll go back in there because you can kind of see it, there's one of the Anderson connectors for bringing power around. So that's for some of the bigger appliances, because different size appliances would be in here. So let me come around. Here's all the paperwork you can see. Move that out of the way. And that's what the back side of these would look like. Have all your terminal blocks for power going out, your battery bus, which I'm trying to see without a glare, and on the back you have your ground bar. So it's pretty cut and dry, pretty simple. And then these are actually built very modular, so this is the other one I had if you hadn't been able to guess by now. But all you have to do is just undo these nuts on the front. And I don't know if I'll be able to get one of these out one-handed, but let's see. Oh, man. There it goes. These things have a very tight connector. These are long, but that's what they are. So AC fuses at 30 amps, output is 53.5 volts DC, 53 amps. So quite a lot of power. You can see a little bit, max draw 21 amps on the AC side. So these things do eat a very good portion of power. I'm going to keep sliding back in. I just want to go back over it. 100 to 240 volts AC, 45 to 66 hertz. So these were very much built for probably generators and everything else where they don't have pure AC set waveforms going to them and everything. But yeah, so that's the cabinet. It's not a bad little thing. I've got two of them. So one's outside, not nearly as good a condition as this one is. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I'll get more updates done on the home lab soon. But without further ado, have a good day.